And we're live. So hello. This video is going to be about more percents, okay? This is a sentence that I like to use for all of the percent questions that I find in our math skills books, okay? So I like to just leave the blanks. Blank is blank percent of blank, okay? And you have to fill in at least two of those three. On our last video, we filled in these two. For example, we said, what is 50% of 80? Okay, so you could just write the word in there and make that a question. What is 50% of 80? Now you can do that two ways. You can say 50% is 50 over 100, which is equal to 1/2. And you could say 1/2 times 80, which is equal to 40. Or you could say 0.5, make that percent a decimal, and then multiply it by 80. Now, both ways you are going to multiply. So I like to say that the of means multiply. The is equal to, okay? So what I do is I take this percent, make it a decimal. You could also make it a fraction. So a decimal or a fraction. And then you multiply it by this number and you're going to get your answer. Okay, so I'm going to erase this and I'm going to say these two things. If you have these two things, you're going to multiply. If you have this answer, okay, so for example, if I say 40 is 50% of what? So here I have a number on either side of the equal sign. If I have a number on the other side of the equal sign, these two right here, I'm going to divide. If I have these two here, I am also going to divide. That might make it simple for students. I know it makes it simple for me. So for every single percent problem, you're going to fill out two of the three. If you fill out these two, you multiply. If you fill out these two or these two, you're going to divide by both of those. Now, if you have and you're trying to find the other number, then you will do it differently. But that's the basic gist of what it is. Like, am I going to multiply or divide? That's what the kids always want to know. Am I going to multiply or divide? So if I have this question, 20 is what percent of 160? Okay, so that's my question. 20 is what percent of 160? So what I said before is I have either side of the equal sign, I'm going to divide. So I can divide like this, 20 divided by 160. So that's a fraction and I'm going to reduce it. So I'm going to reduce, divide by 10, divide by 2. So I get 1/8, okay? And that is not a percent. So what I need to do now is I find out the decimal for 1/8 by dividing 8 into 1. So 8 into 1 goes 1, 2, 5. Okay, so that's my decimal for 1/8. 0.125. And as we've learned in previous videos, changing a decimal to a percent, we multiply by 100. And so 0.125 is 12.5%. Okay, so let's review. If you have the first and the last, you divide. You put this number over this number. Make a fraction. Turn that fraction into a decimal. Then you multiply by 100 and you get your percent. So 20 is 12.5 or 12.5% of 160. Now, I always tell the kids to go ahead and see if it makes sense. So 10% I know is just taking and dividing by 10. So that would be 16. So 10% would be 16. Let me see. Okay, so 16 and 20 is a little bit more than 16, so that does make sense. So that's what I also like to say is when you do get a final answer, just look at it and see if it makes sense. You know, you could have made a mistake somewhere, maybe decimal point or something like that. Okay, so that's one type of question. And then another type is when we have the first number and then we have a percent. So I have some examples here. Let's see, let's look at, okay, so 72 is 25% of what number? Okay, 72 is what 25% of what number? So what we're going to do here is we're going to divide. Remember, this is an equal sign, so I'm going to divide. Okay, and so we're going to say 72 divided by 0.25. We have to put that into a decimal form. Okay, now if you see that your percent is easy to make into a fraction, like 0.25 is 1/4, you could use that. You could say 72 basically divided by 4, and that would be, okay, 72 divided by 1/4. And if you have studied the fractions, how to do that, it would be 72 times the reciprocal, which would be 8 and then 28. So 72 is 25% of 288. Okay, so this number is bigger than this number. Okay, so that's one way of doing it, turning it into a fraction. And I'm going to go back to the decimal one, and I'm going to say I'm going to do 0.25 into 72. And remember, when you divide decimals, you have to make this a whole number. So you multiply by 100, multiply by 100. I move the decimal over 2 places. And now I have 25 into 72, which you go 2. Okay, and that would be 0. So there's going to be 8, which would be 200, and then 8 again, which would be 200, which would be, and now we're done. Okay, so I'm going to get the same answer either way. But this way right here helps you to know how to do it, even if you don't have a percent that you can make into a fraction easily. So let's review that part. Okay, so we have 72 is 25% of what? So like I said, we're going to divide. So 72 divided by 25%, but we change it to a decimal, 0.25. And then you do the work. Okay, say I had 72 is 5% of what number? Okay, we're going to do it the same way. Now, 5%, the decimal is 0.05. We have to divide by 100 to remove the decimal, the percent sign. Okay, so that's going to be 0.05. So now I'm going to divide 0.05 into 72. Remember, you have to multiply by 100, multiply by 100, and then I get 5 into 7 is 1. 5 into 20 is 4. Okay, 2, it's 22, so 5. Okay, and then I see that I'm going to keep, let me see. I'm going to keep bringing 2's down. Okay, let's see. 1, 4, and then 5, and then that's going to be 4. And then that's going to be 20, and then that's going to be 0. So 1, 4, 4, 0. Okay, so that's going to be my answer there. So I do it the same way. I make the decimal into a fraction and then I divide. And you can shorten it a little bit if you notice that you can make an easy fraction. Okay, so Thank you for watching, and I hope this helps. You should be able to do all three types of percent problems that we have. Okay, the first one would be what is 50% of 70? Something like that. You have the two second ones, you multiply. If I have these two, you divide. If I have these two, you also divide. I hope this was clear for you, and let me know if you like the video, and check out the other videos on percents, and I will be putting more easy concepts for math. Now, these videos kind of it's kind of for like junior high age or adults, and I expect whoever wants to come in and get some help on their concepts here, you would need to know your math facts, your multiplication tables, and some general math skills. So I have some easier videos before this. I have videos on decimals and percents, and check them out. So I hope you enjoy it. I will see you in the next video.